A four-stage decision model, the OODA loop was initially developed to help fighter pilots win during air combat. The model was taught as part of a briefing titled A Discourse on Winning and Losing. The main takeaway was that to win, to beat the competition, you want to find an advantage, to be faster, to get inside or otherwise disrupt the enemy's loop. Over time, this decision model spread to other branches of the military, and eventually, application of the OODA loop made its way into first responder communities, sports, business, and other competitive fields. Going through each stage of the model, we start with Orient. While Orient is technically the second stage, when you understand Orient, then the other stages of the model fall into place. A passive interpretation of Orient is the direction you are facing. How you are currently oriented provides the window or frame you're able to look through. You cannot observe what is outside of your current orientation. A more active interpretation is to orient, to figure out where you are relative to some destination or goal. This is the equivalent of situational awareness or sense-making, in that it is not only about direction, but about how orientation heavily influences or limits what can be observed and how those observations might then be interpreted. In the broadest sense, the Orient stage is your current worldview, your current assessment of the overall situation, based on your beliefs, your values, your goals, as well as your prior experiences and knowledge. The importance then of Orient cannot be overstated, as to have a solid orientation is fundamental to winning. It is fundamental to survival. You don't want to find yourself out of position, lost, or worse yet, disoriented. In air combat, for instance, if you are not oriented correctly, then you are in no position to win. You can't shoot down the enemy. On the other hand, if you're in a positive orientation, then they are at a major disadvantage, requiring that they spend energy and crucial seconds to try and reorient as to avoid being shot down. This same principle can be applied to other competitive fields. Having to retool your factory, for instance, to reposition your body, to develop a new marketing plan, or otherwise reorient to the competition or situation is most often costly in both time and resources. Moving to the first stage, observation is all about data. In air combat, prior to onboard radar and other electronic sensors, observation was primarily visual. It was a matter of scanning vast amounts of sky for black dots that then had to be rapidly interpreted as friend or foe, as relevant or irrelevant. To gain an advantage, then, is the ability to be first to observe, to connect the dots, to get more and better quality data that is timely. For example, illegal trading on stock exchanges, insider trading, is all about access to relevant information before it goes public. This early advantage then influences later stages of the cycle, providing those engaged in this activity the ability to buy or sell a stock before the general public has access to this same information. The third stage of the OODA loop is to make a decision. This is running through available options and forming a mental simulation or hypothesis of how to best gain an advantage or achieve a win. Understandably, what options are available are based on the previous stages of observation and orientation. For example, having observed an enemy aircraft, a pilot must decide between alternatives such as climbing, diving, turning to meet the threat, or running away. The final stage of the OODA loop is to act, to execute on the decision you just made. This represents testing your hypothesis, testing the decision as to gain advantage or to win by altering the situation. Regardless of how successful, this action then takes you back to observation and the cycle starts over. Ultimately, the cycle continues until you observe having either won or lost. If you have defeated the competition or have been defeated. If you have shot down the enemy or have been shot down. It is over. The OODA loop is complete. Putting all four stages together, the OODA loop is yet another tool to consider adding to your decision-making tool belt. And as with any tool, you want to use the right tool for the job. With the OODA loop, it is a decision tool specifically designed to help you win in competitive environments, to help you come out on top, especially in situations where losing is not an option.